Alright guys, we're at the first milestone, the end of Phase 1, Avengers. As we know, this is starring Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Clark Gregg, Cobie Smulders, Stellan Skarsgård, and of course, Samuel L. Jackson. This was written and directed by Joss Whedon. The Avengers. After S.H.I.E.L.D. has spent decades trying to unlock the power of the Tesseract, a breakthrough was made, unleashing Loki, Thor's lost brother, onto Earth. Nick Fury decides that gathering Earth's mightiest heroes is the best response of fending off an intergalactic war. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk are recruited to form an idea, the Avengers Initiative. Avengers Assemble. There are a few titles for this film. I just want to get something out of the way first because it's really bothered me, and I know it shouldn't have, but I have the 4K box set for the Infinity Saga, and it's pretty simple. You put in the movie, you get your intro scene, and then you get your title card. I like the title for the American version of this movie, The Avengers. Simple, clean, to the point. In the UK, it was Avengers Assemble. I didn't really mind it that much. I didn't really understand why there needed to be a rebranding for it, but you know, Hollywood be Hollywood. Given also there's such an iconic line in retrospect as well, it's nice that we in the UK got that. But on this 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray version, they have the American title card, The Avengers, but for some reason it has a subtitle saying Avengers Assemble, like as if I was gonna get confused in what I was actually watching. This act of moronic labeling is tantamount to putting "this product may contain nuts" on a mixed bag of cashews, almonds, and pistachios. Of course, I am watching the correct Avengers movie. I just saw Nick Fury tussle with Hawkeye whilst Loki stole the MacGuffin, and dire consequences ensued. I didn't think I would start this review complaining, but seriously, that is some needless shit right there, and I have only the consumer to blame. Anyway, I mean, I could turn it off, but how am I going to know that he's telling her everything?
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
I don't give everything.
The Avengers. All that aside, the film was a blast to revisit. I was smiling start to finish. There was something incredible about this first triumph of Marvel Studios. The film's story is still just fantastic. It has all the right pacing. I'm never bored watching the film. Whether it's action, dialogue, or plot, it's all such a masterclass of what can be done with good character writing. The fusion of all their respective genres is something that doesn't necessarily happen in the later films because the Avengers films become their own genre they're on. But I do actually kind of miss that Shakespearean flurry between Thor and Loki.
I missed you too.
Do I look to be in a gaming mood?
Whilst Cap adjusts himself into the 21st century, still starry-eyed among the diversity of what constitutes modern heroes. The colour pops so much in this film. The most comic book the film's ever looked, and I'm glad that it did, and I'm also glad that it didn't continue like this. It's like looking back at the golden age in a new light, you know, with this aesthetic that we can look back and say, there's our golden age of Marvel superhero movies. When the colours were bright and stark, it may have been weird to see our heroes in Endgame like this, but perhaps it would trivialise the stakes with posterised villains and warmer environments. But it had never been done before, and because it was so much fun, that's why it works. I do look back and think that the colour style makes this film almost look like a budget TV show at times. But again, it doesn't really bother me that much. There's just so much to talk about with this film. The performances, the script, the direction come together so well. You get this gem of a movie. Technology collides with myth. A destructive force wrestles with its own purpose while modernity gets inspired by tradition. What makes this film so magical is that for the longest time it was said it can't be done, that there's too many characters, and we know now that if the characters have depth, meaning, and are entertaining, it doesn't matter. Bring them all in. Anyone's invited to the party.
I don't see how that's a party.
The characters and actors and their performances. Hemsworth wasn't quite Thor that we love now, but he still got to be fun when he could be. Plus, as I said before, I love the Shakespearean dialogue that he delivers so immaculately in his non-native accent. Chris Evans at the time, I feel, didn't have much influence on what his character was like. This is surely the most comic book Cap has ever been. Still fun, exciting, and never laid on too thick to devalue the importance of the character.
Not today!
Scarlett Johansson is the OG female superhero and did it with cunning and performance alone. No powers needed other than persuasion. Still waiting patiently to see her standalone film, but good things come to those who wait. Mark Ruffalo, a man who through trials and tribulations in his own life, he imbued into his character so deeply, and we get the most fleshed out version of a Banner or Hulk there's ever been. There is something so authentic about his mannerisms and acting that is so compelling to watch. Bring on World War Hulk. That's what I want. I would love to see a standalone film like that. I just need more Hulk in my life. And of course, Robert Downey Jr. Not much more can be said about his performance as Tony Stark, but I will say is that what I love most is his humility in his performances. And I know this is Iron Man we're talking about, but what I'm saying is that there are so many moments where he could have just been flying around shouting about how awesome he is and teasing others for the power difference. But they chose to show him displaying serious moments of vulnerability. These are what I love most about Stark and him throughout the films. It's around his friends, the Avengers, he shows so much of his fears and complexities. It makes you root for him all the way to the end. Hard to mention everyone notable, but Renner, Smulders, Gregg, Hiddleston, Jackson, all vital to making this film a success. Hiddleston's Loki set the standard of what makes an Avengers level threat, all the while being layered in a formidable adversary. Smulders especially plays a character who could be thrown away, but Agent Hill still is quite a beloved character even to the very end of the Infinity Saga. Something that really jumped out to me was the sound design. The sound design in this film, it sounded so appealing. It actually, you know when something is so good that you have to actually look away from the screen for a second because it's making such an impression on you. Such crisp and intense sounds. And on top of that, this is where Alan Silvestri founded the now iconic theme for the Avengers that will live on in cinema history. Great sound design, great score from a man who's done this many times before, and I'm sure he'll do it many times after this. There are only brief moments of jank in this film. There are some moments where I even remember in the days of watching it in the cinema or in DVD, wherever I watched it, I was like, why is that happening? Like, look at this, when it's a close-up of Thor fighting Loki, and it's just super fast, close-up, incoherent, blurring. This is rubbish. They definitely learned the lesson from after this, because I don't think I've ever seen anything like this since then. But this is annoying. I don't know it's brief, but I'm criticizing, so that's something I have to criticize, because I can't really enjoy anything that I'm seeing right now because it's incoherent smudge. So that's something that annoyed me. Then there's the VFX, and I gotta say, if you think that I go on too much about VFX, you need to understand, I love special effects. Whether it's practical, visual, or just straight up magical, I love it all. So at times, if a movie is great for those things, I'm going to talk at them a bit at length. So when you watch YouTube like The Corridor Crew, it's great to see these artists get the respect that they deserve, and I'm going to do the same. This is where the Marvel movies became this half live action animation hybrid. A lot of people dislike this, as movies are supposed to be shot on film, capturing fascinating moments and imagery, not traditionally having animators toiling day and night to make the sunrise exactly what you want in your shot. But when you look back over 100 years ago to Georges Méliès' Le Voyage dans de la Lune and other wild imaginative work, what insane limitations would we put on artists if we had scorned his intricate dreams? I don't see these films being any different than Méliès' imaginative stories. The VFX brings them to life in such a way that's deep and complex that could never be realized before. Take for example the fact that they recreated the entirety of Midtown Manhattan just so they could blow it up. There really isn't any moments where the environments didn't convince me that I was seeing New York. The unbelievable details that went into making those buildings authentic are incredible. Over 275,000 high-res shots, then compiled and stitched into panoramic spheres that gave accurate references to the streets and buildings. It's such a colossal undertaking. It's incredible to me. And then there's the undeniably superior incarnation of the Hulk. That had so many elaborate details taken from Ruffalo as the source, whether it's his hair, his scars, his facial features, his dentures, just to make it even more believable that that puny man Banner could become the Incredible Hulk. It shocks me every time I watch this film, and it's one of the greatest reasons to own this film in 4K. Yes, easy to say, apart from the weird bit of subtitling, this is an amazing watch in 4K. High-res imagery, wild intricate VFX, sounds that resonate through your system, and an investing story to top it off. I highly recommend this as a watch to anyone who owns a 4K TV. I loved it, and I hope you get to see it in all its glory. Next week I'll be watching Iron Man 3. This one's always been a bit touch and go with a lot of people, a bit similar like Iron Man 2 as well. I remember laughing so hard in the theatres. Theatres? Do you remember those? Theatres? But anyway, I remember being very entertaining just for the humour, but I can definitely see that this was probably not going to appeal to me as much as the Avengers did. Well, anyway, I'll also be reviewing the 3rd episode of WandaVision by Monday. Can't wait to see where that story's going. So please check out that on my YouTube. Of course, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I need to find some other new releases to watch, I think. I need something else other than Marvel related things to review. So let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to watch or you're looking forward to, and also any thoughts you have on the show. Thanks for the likes, love to the subs, and I'll see you all next time.